old school bodybuilding clothing company. If leg day was yesterday and now you're wondering why toilets are so damn low, you are definitely old school. If you're the only athlete at your gym that knows there's a contest today and it's to see who trains the hardest, you are old school. OSBBC.com for the hardest training athletes.
You're funny.
Like I said. Do you like my tail? Like I said.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Iron Rage. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined by my twin brother, Lee Priest. We're like twins, like Arnold and Danny DeVito.
Exactly, but I'm like the twin that's still alive, and you're the one I dug up from the ground.
That's
2
right.
years after your death.
They call me the Crypt Keeper. That's right.
You corpse-looking motherfucker.
Now, Lee, usually we're raging about something related to the bodybuilding world in the men's area or something in the general world.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're actually going to be raging about something in the women's part of our sport because we support that also on this show, unlike a lot of other channels out there. And to join us today to talk about this topic that we're going to be raging about is Larhanna Robinson and Nicole Zenobia Graham. They are IFBB professional figure competitors. They have been at the Olympia multiple times. They've won shows, and they're very decorated. We've actually had them on the show, and we've interviewed them. So welcome, ladies, to the show.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much, Dave. We know this was very last minute. Let me just get this out of the way because I'm definitely fangirling. Hi, Lee Priest. Hi. First of all, thank you so much, Dave, for putting us on. And thank you, Lee Priest, not just from me and Nicole, but from the whole figure division for your statement defending us. We really need more men like you that can stand up and have a statement and say, how could you say something about such a division that is so great? Mm-hmm. So we really, really appreciate it. And we most definitely like your tail over here.
All right, let me just go over what the topic is first of all, because for people who may not be following the Arnold Classic. By the way, I love the Arnold Classic. I've gone since back in the early '90s, and it's always been an exciting weekend for me. And it's always featured men and women and a million other sports. For some reason, they've decided this year to get rid of the figure division. Now, they had gotten rid of women's bodybuilding previous to that. They got rid of women's physique in 2020. I reached out to Brent Lalonde, who's a friend of mine from the Arnold Classic over there, and I asked him what happened. This was before I even knew about the figure division, and he said, "Well, we just decided that whatever, we weren't going to hold it." So then they made the announcement that the figure division was removed, which was something that they've had since the very beginning, And obviously, the top figure girls in the sport are upset about this, and you guys reached out to, I guess, what's the guy's name? Brian, I don't know what his last name is.
Brian Powers.
Brian Powers, who's I guess now running or helping to run the Arnold Classic. And what was his statement that he made about the fact that they're not holding figure anymore? Why was the reason?
He said that there was not enough depth in the figure division, and that we were non-competitive, and that they would come back and revisit the figure division in 2014. And Nicole and I have already discussed this, and we put out there that if you look at the Olympia and the Arnold lineup, it's literally almost the top 10 Olympians. Right. Every single girl on the Arnold stage was invited. Y'all chose us. Y'all knew what y'all were putting on that stage. Sure. Arnold is not going to put anybody that he thinks is less than on his stage. So for you to say that we're non-competitive, you chose us. You chose these exact athletes to be put on your stage. So what are you talking about?
Now, it's interesting because you guys probably get the most Olympians in the lineup that also do the Arnold, because a lot of bodybuilders feel like they can't peak for 2 shows and they'll only do 1 or the other. It's usually the figure Olympia lineup at the Arnold every year. So we know it's competitive. Now, Lee, you made a very bold statement defending the women explain to me, number one, what you said and why you felt the need to say it.
Well, I just thought it was, a put down on the women. And like, if he had have said something like, okay, due to make up some bullshit, say financial reasons, whatever, due to COVID over the last few years and this and that, some sponsors have pulled out, so financially we can't do it. People might have been upset, but they would accept it. But to come out and say his main reason was there's not enough depth in the field, I'm like, are you a fucking dickhead? It's like, out of all the divisions, like we just stated, they've got the biggest depth ever and the most probably competitive with past winners from other divisions, whereas the men's open at the Arnold, it's not going to have a Mr. Olympia standing up there that's been there before, or probably anyone that's hardly doing the Olympia is going to be there, because bodybuilders are too fucking lazy to do 2 shows a fucking year these days, whereas the women get out there and compete year after year, show after show. But men are like, I can't do that. I might lose muscle and I'm taking too many drugs. I could interfere with my health. So they sit on the couch, 300 pounds, taking more drugs, thinking they're fucking healthy. So there's just this whole dumb excuse saying there was no depth. I'm thinking, oh, fuck that. So I'm just going to comment on it. And then it just started. And then they put up my things and some of my comments, he put a little smiley face being a smart ass. Look, and I don't know, Brian, maybe he's a great promoter when it comes to other sports, but we've seen it before where they've taken a promoter from, say, a different kind of sport and tried to put them onto a bodybuilding thing, and it's a totally different kettle of fish. It's a different audience. It's a whole different ball game. But to use an excuse saying there's no depth, that's just like a slap in the face, because that's the dumbest excuse ever. And also, once he said that, and now this whole ball's rolling, where's the fucking voice of bodybuilding, the athlete's rep? Why hasn't he come out and stood up for anybody and defended it or explained it in his nice monotone fucking voice, Bob Ciccarello?
That's what I'm glad you said that, though, because who is supposed to be, standing up for these divisions? The athletes have to take a stand and be leaders and speak for their division, which is why Nicole and I did reach out to y'all, because if we don't stand up for the figure division, who's going to stand up for us? Right. It's rare that Lee Priest is going to say something, for the figure division. We mainly hear bodybuilders getting, stand up for, and people taking a stand for bodybuilding, just not female bodybuilding.
Yeah. You know what the problem is here? I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is that they didn't give the right reason, Lee, and that's why you're pissed off. They gave the bullshit reason. They should have just said, like you said, that, look, you know what? We realize we give out a ton of prize money. Maybe we don't have as many sponsors as we had in the past. We want to give more prize money to the divisions that are in the show so that people want to do the show. And in order to do that, we have to eliminate some divisions. That would have been, like you said, it would have sucked, but at least that would have been a more honest answer. Because when I look at the women in figure today, you guys probably could have won, women's physique when it first was launched, and maybe even women's bodybuilding when it first. I mean, the physiques are incredible nowadays with the muscle and the symmetry and the tiny waist. I mean, in the history of figure, this is the greatest. This is like the renaissance of figure. I mean,
we're the most balanced. We're the most balanced on stage. And the Arnold started with women's bodybuilding, fitness, and figure. And those are the ones that show the most muscle. It's a bodybuilding show. Yeah. Why would you get rid of the categories that have the most muscle for a bodybuilding show? If you want it to be a different type of show, say that. If you don't want that much muscle on stage, say that. But don't say that we don't have enough depth within our category. That's it. Because that's not true.
It would be a bodybuilding show. I mean, bodybuilding, it's about muscle, size, symmetry.
I think it's a money thing. That's my thing. I think they don't want to give out the money. You know what? Which is fine.
I don't know if it's a money thing, because they make pretty good money with sponsors and being a fitness expo thing. But it's a shame when, like you said, you see these women who train hard. Look, nothing against the bikini girls, but if I was going to eliminate a division, I'd probably drop bikini before I drop figure and physique and stuff like that. But now it's like, let's go to the Arnold and we can't see figure, but, hold on, I can go over here and watch pole dancing and a fucking slap fest. So
exactly.
Like, wow.
But let's say it is a money issue. Let's say that because, so how they put on the amateur division and the pro division there. So let's say that there's not enough NPC figure competitors. So because there's not enough NPC competitors to pay that entry fee, they can't break even with the pro figure division payout. So since there's not enough NPC figure competitors, let's get rid of the pro division because we lost so much money in 2020 by they did not pay anybody back for the booths that they got, so they can't say they lost money on that. And he had to pay whatever he had to pay for 2021. But if there's not enough NPC figure to make them level out, then yeah, they're going to get rid of the figure division altogether.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. I think there's a lot of people competing in figure. I think there's plenty of figure girls competing to justify.
But I'm even thinking, I could be wrong though, but when you get to the Arnold Classic level or the Olympia level, even guys included, if you said to the top Olympian guys and the women in figure going to the Arnold, look, it's just been a shit year. We've got no money in that. Prize money is going to be almost zero or none at all, but you can still compete for the title. I think most people would still go for the title because a lot of people who have the passion and want to compete, we definitely know you're not going to become a millionaire in this fucking sport. So it's not about the money. It's about the competitiveness and winning that title. Having the title of Miss International in the figure or in the men's or Mr. Olympia, people would do it without the fucking money, the ones that love it. So take the money out and
or Lee, he has a better solution. How about have less people per division? I've been saying for years, I hate watching 15 girls on stage. If you're going to invite the 10 best girls, you know, and that's it. Or even 8 girls. I don't care. Showcase, here's the best 8 we got in the world that we were able to secure. We invited them. They came. You could have one alternate or something like that. And just limit the divisions to less people. Because you know what? It makes the show go faster, and you're still getting the same level of talent. Because let's face it, I'm not really interested in watching 10th place through 15th place. I'm interested in the top 5 or 6 people in each division. And so are the other fans watching the show. I don't need to be entertained with 14, 15, 20 girls walking out on stage. So have less people there, but keep the division because that division is one of the staples now of the bodybuilding world. I mean, let's face it. Especially
the Arnold, especially the Arnold and the Olympia. It's like they're the 2 main shows. And I used to always say even the Arnold was probably above the Olympia, the way it was run, the competitiveness, the whole weekend. It was so professionally done. So, look, if this was a smaller show like some Sacramento show and they said financial reasons or this or that, or enough girls weren't interested in doing that. But even the smaller shows, there's always a lot of girls interested. Right. So if it was a smaller show, you might be able to understand. But a premier show like the Arnold Classic to be cut in divisions like that would be like the Olympia cut in divisions. You wouldn't do it. So
right, and you're not showcasing all of bodybuilding. You're only showcasing a certain amount. You're advertising being the second best bodybuilding show without even showing every single level of the bodybuilders. You're only showcasing so many, and pole dancing and slapping.
Yeah, I don't get the whole pole dancing thing, to be honest with you. I mean, unless it supports itself, I don't know, but I don't really get it in terms of like, you know, why that would be more important than say like figure or women's physique or something like that. I understand the slap fighting. It's like an event, like they at the expo that they're adding. That really has nothing to do. But when you add pole dancing, but you take away figure, that's to me is disrespectful to the division.
Well, I've got a solution. You know the slap fighting where they've got to come up to the table and hold those handles?
Yeah.
I'm going to strap Brian to that table and the figure girls are going to line up and all have a go slapping the shit out of him one by one.
Look, you know what? You can't blame Brian, even though Brian made the statement, because I'm sure it's a committee there that is making the final situation. All right, but let's move past that. They decided not to hold it. The reason they said they're not holding it was a weak decision. They should not have used that. That statement was very, very poor as far as I'm concerned. You guys have a solution to the problem, though. So that's why another reason why I have you here. Tell us what are you guys planning? You have some interesting ideas, and I think it actually might pan out to work in favor of you figure girls as opposed to being a negative, you know.
So, you know, we definitely want to be better as leaders in our division. I think not enough pros are doing enough for the division. A lot of us are more so for self. And at the end of the day, the NPC is the future of IFBB. So what we need to do is we need to start doing seminars, more posing seminars. We need to basically push figure athletes through the NPC. And that's basically really what I feel the reasoning is why figure seems to be, I guess they say, a dying breed. I mean, we do have the pros. We do even have a decent amount of amateurs, but unfortunately, no, they are not showcased. Unfortunately, no, they are not promoted. So I mean, really, that's what our platform does.
Hold on, Nicole. Where do you think all these people are competing if they're not doing figure? Are they doing wellness? I mean.
Let's look for example, Dave. The Ronnie Coleman was this weekend, and in total, they had 95 competitors in total. In total.
Wow.
So the figure division of that was only 12 people. The local level of figure competitors is definitely dying. There's only 2 or 3 or 4.
Why do you think that is? Why?
Because there's no platform for the figure division. There's nowhere to go to see what athletes are in the figure division and how to be inspired and want to be like a figure competitor. Like Nicole was saying, every figure competitor that's a top figure competitor is just about themselves, getting themselves elevated.
Right, but where are these girls competing then if they're not doing figure? Are they not competing at all, or are they doing other divisions?
They're choosing to go down in a category instead of staying on the figure path.
Right.
They see an easier path to only train their legs and to go into a division like wellness where it's more praised in the IFBB. It's more praised on the local level. Even our own league doesn't promote us. So if our league doesn't promote our division, if the pros aren't out there talking about their division, showing everybody what it's like to be this figure competitor, then yes, who is going to want to be a figure pro? You have nothing to look forward to after you leave the amateur level. Because like, oh yeah, cool, I get to get my pro card, but then what?
Yeah, because like 5 years ago, I remember going to these shows, and it was like so many figure competitors. I wanted to blow my brains out. There was like 6 height classes. There's 40 girls, 50 girls per height class at the nationals. And I'm like, I can't believe all these girls. So I'm just wondering where I can't believe they're all going to wellness,
They absolutely are. And then you'll see the judges look at them whenever they get on stage and they're like, what are you doing in this division?
Right.
But they just see getting more praise when they're in that division. Oh. So that's why Nicole and I want to start doing a posing seminar, because like Lee said, you only had 5 chances to get your pro card when you were a 90s bodybuilder.
Right.
When you were a 90s bodybuilder, you had 1 chance to get that pro card.
Yeah.
If you didn't get it, you had to wait the following year, and y'all still worked y'all's asses off that whole year.
Right.
So when you did get your pro card, you were ready as a pro. You were dominant the second you got your pro card. When Lee got his pro card, dominant already. So that's what we want to do for the NPC figure division. We're going to do a posing seminar and go to all these, big states that have a huge bodybuilding community and educate them on how to be a professional pro, so that whenever they do get their pro card and they do a show, they can win. They don't have to wait a whole year.
I blame social media. You know why? Because social media glamorizes this wellness division so much. And so people these girls don't know when they're first getting into the sport what to compete in. They say, I got to do wellness. I have girls who come to me. I work with a lot of bikini girls, believe it or not. And they're all like, should I do wellness too? I'm like, you don't have any muscle. You're not wellness. I know it sounds like appealing, but you have to have a lot of muscle on your legs to do wellness. You're a bikini competitor,
Right.
So there's probably more crossover, like you said, between figure or women's physique and wellness than there is between bikini and wellness. But yet there's people doing wellness that shouldn't even be doing wellness.
I mean,
exactly.
So I say it all the time, and it's people really do not understand what the wellness division is. It's really understood, and this is why I tell people all the time, go see a pro wellness show. It's not about just having big legs. It's solid muscle. They're just as lean as they are. So
they are. Some of them are bigger than figure competitors.
They're bodybuilders on the bottom. Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Exactly. So how could they get rid of figure when wellness is literally a figure competitor just with not a huge back?
Right. You think it just might be a trend? People all think they want to do it, and then eventually they're going to realize they don't really fit there, and the judges are going to tell them to go to figure, and then figure will pick up again?
Not if our division doesn't make our division great again.
Right.
Because if we don't go around promoting our own division and getting out there what it's like to be a figure pro, nobody's going to have anything to look forward to and look up to as a figure pro. So with us doing our posing tour, we're going to also do guest posing so we can show these girls, look, figure competitors are not just heels and quarter turns.
Right.
We are just triathletes like everybody else. We'll also welcome, let's like me and Lee Priest doing a workout together so that we can show the world that figure competitors train just like
Hey,
bodybuilders.
you might
Lee
show
might
me
be
up.
crippled after he's done. I don't know if he can handle it.
Exactly.
I was going to say,
Exactly.
she might,
I want to,
you might
we want
show
to
me up.
showcase that. We want to showcase that a figure competitor can go toe to toe on weight with a top professional bodybuilder. We are not a weak or a less depth category. We are one of the strongest. For example, Rhea Gale right now, she's deadlifting 405, and she's 4 weeks out from the Arnold.
Larhanna, if you worked out with Lee, I would get a call later that night he'd be at the emergency room thinking he's having a heart attack. I'm sure of it.
Absolutely, he would.
I'm just going to work out so I can wear the heels.
All right,
I'm non-binary now. I'm going gender fluid.
That's right. Now, Larhanna, you and Nicole have raised a lot of money to hold a figure show. We're not saying when it's going to be held or where it's going to be held because it hasn't been finalized yet, but we're talking 20 grand first prize, which is a lot of money, and that's pretty cool. Now, give me the whole idea behind the show.
So our platform, we just started a platform called Beyond the Barbell.
Okay.
And it's strictly to showcase all figure athletes, not just the pros, but also the amateurs as well. So we do a live every Sunday and we interview somebody. And our last interview was with Sheila Brown.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, me too.
Love
She's
Sheila.
so amazing. She just put on the Texas Pro. They did an amazing job. And in that interview, we announced that we're going to be giving out $20K to a figure open pro show, of our choice. We just haven't chosen the show yet, but we're most definitely, that's already stamped, going to be, donating $20K towards a open IFBB figure pro show.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that's amazing. And, I think it's important also that whatever show you hold there should be like a roll out the red carpet for the figure division, so that
absolutely. We want it to be something special, just like we know we can't make it as prestigious as Arnold, but we want them to feel just as, relevant and good like they would whenever they get that special treatment.
Look what Jake Wood did for women's bodybuilding. When they got rid of women's bodybuilding, he held that Rising Phoenix show and was giving away more money than the Olympia ever gave away. He was giving away car. He's still doing it. He's giving like 75 grand cash. He's giving away a car, like a Hellcat or all these crazy cars. And you know what? The women I've been pushing women into women's bodybuilding. I'm like, you guys, they're getting more prize money than anyone. So
exactly, they have something to work for and something to look forward to. So that's what me and Nicole want to build for the figure division, and it starts with us. If we don't do it, it's not going to get done. So we're going to sacrifice our time and our preps, so that we can build and grow the figure division, so that nobody like Brian Powers can ever make us feel like we're anything less than any other bodybuilding category. And he shouldn't have done it to women's physique or women's bodybuilding either.
Right. Well, I feel, I've always respected every division out there. I might not necessarily think that we need to add divisions when they come up with some of these new divisions, but anyone who busts their butt and gives 100% to their sport and their blood, sweat, and tears and comes in at their absolute best, and they establish themselves as the elite in the world, should be rewarded and respected. Because look, we're all iron brothers and sisters in the same sport. And we have to support each other. And when they disrespect, a division, it's disrespecting all of us, not just one division. If they disrespect figure, it's disrespecting us bodybuilders too, because it's saying, you know what, maybe next year you guys won't be as important either, and we'll get rid of you. They got rid of 212 bodybuilding at the Arnold.
Exactly.
So.
Right. And then and it's like us bodybuilders, we give our lives to this sport and promote ourselves for the sport. And it is a business at the end of the day, but we only have a certain time period to compete. Whenever you compete and you're up there, you only have so many years until you peak. And then here come the new people like the Nick Walkers, the Hunter Labradas, getting the ones that are reached their peak and they're done, out of the way. So why would you take one of those prime years away from one of my figure sisters when she only has a certain amount of years to compete as it is? Then when you're done bodybuilding, it's not like you have a for sure outlet for what you're going to do when you're done. When your body's done, you're pretty much done. And if you haven't built anything with your bodybuilding career, So sad. Too bad. So sad. That's it. That's all you get.
Lucky for Lee and I that we can sit here and like old cronies and cackle about all the things that irritate us about the world.
But speaking of butts and being respectful, can we get rid of that pose where the women have to turn around and just stand and show their butts and that? Because I've had to judge that before, and I don't know where to look.
You mean a bikini? You're talking about
Well,
bikinis?
you don't have to worry about that with us, because if me and Nicole turn around, we could both get our pilot license with how wide.
Even when they,
there's no gap there, Lee. Yeah, exactly.
even when they do that in bikini, I'm like, do the women actually like doing this pose? Because I don't want to look up because I feel like an old pervert if I look up. But men, they stopped men doing the hamstring pose. Remember, men weren't allowed to bend over.
The moon pose, the moon pose.
But now they got the women bend and show and whatever. But then even in the fitness had to do that mandatory pose where they face the judges and put one hand here and spread their legs. It's like, why are they making women do all these sort of sexual poses, but
that's
men
what the
can
Arnold
do
wants. That's all the Arnold wants. Clearly doesn't want big back. So ask him. He's talking about something. Forget your freedom. Yeah, you took away our freedom to go on your stage. So
yeah, like I said, I could understand it. Well, I can't really understand it, but if it was a smaller show, you could understand if they said financial reasons. But the Arnold and the Olympia, to take any division away from it is just ridiculous. It's like they're the two. Well, the Arnold, like I said, is almost people enjoy going to the Arnold more than the Olympia, and to take categories out of it and to use the excuse, like I said, not enough depth. I don't think there's enough depth in Brian's fucking brain cells. That's what the problem is.
Lee, you know what the truth is? If Tim Gardner can hold every single division in Tampa, okay, there's no reason why the Arnold can't hold every single division, right?
Bingo.
Doesn't make sense.
Well,
Toronto too, right? Toronto had every division as well too.
We need to get Brian and Tim together so that Tim could do the productions over there.
Do it over 3 days. You know what I mean? They have 3 days anyway. You don't have to do it over 2 days. Do it over 3 days if you want. You'll get more people in attendance watching these shows too. And you know what?
Maybe.
Nowadays, more money is being made on the pay-per-views than even on the audience, tickets, because people want to watch it at home all over the world. I pay for the live stream if I'm not going to be there, so I don't understand it. There has to be a business model here. You know?
Oh my God! I mean, okay, I'm used to prejudging used to be like what, $25, $30. It was men, women's, and then at finals maybe 40, 50, maybe with VIP.
Right.
Oh my gosh, some of these shows literally for the whole weekend is almost $1,000 just for the tickets.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is insane. That's more than the Olympia.
Right, but you know what? But the great thing about the Arnold, the pro division, is that they're inviting people. So if they're only inviting 10 or 12 people per class, it's not going to take a lot of time. It's quick. It's very fast. So there's no excuse, The only thing I could potentially see is a money issue. That's the only thing I could see. And you know what? Why not approach the Figure Girls and say, hey, do you have any ideas for promotions? Maybe we can drum up some extra additional funding for this thing, if that really is the issue. But they're saying you're not competitive, which is a crazy
cockamamie. You already have 20K, so if that's what you need, just say that, and we'll have the answer right there. Right. And you can put it back in and get rid of this whole issue.
Yep.
I don't know if Brian's married or he's got a girlfriend, but maybe his wife or girlfriend competes in figure, and they had an argument. He's like, "I'll show you, bitch." I'm champion in the figure division.
I think I don't think he's a bad guy. I think what happened is he became the scapegoat, essentially. They're like, you answer him.
Well,
and they made up a bad excuse. And so
you should have at least looked up the lineup and where our last placing was before he said that. Like, come on, you have to do some type of research before you put out a statement to anyone. And you know that, Dave.
Of course.
If you're going to text me something, you better make sure you're solid and secure on that, because there's screenshots now, and I can get that one conversation to everybody in the world.
I know Arnold doesn't believe that. That's for sure. I know Arnold doesn't believe that. So I don't know why that they would allow that statement to be put out there.
That's right. Because remember, I trained at World Gym, and I know a lot of Arnold's stories. He loves women.
Arnold respects how the athletes compete. I mean, Arnold is an athlete himself still. At the end of the day, he respects all the divisions, and I know he knows how hard people train for this. So that's really not a good comment to make. Like I said, it would have been better if they would have been honest and said, hey, it's a financial decision. You know, we don't have as many people coming to these expos as we did in the past. We had to make a financial decision. But whatever it is, I'm glad you guys have raised a lot of money. You'll have to let us know where you decide to put that money and what show it's going to be at, and we'll help promote that event and make it a big deal, and hopefully we can get the top figure girls to compete in it.
But Dave, look at all the stuff that's going on now. And like I said, people are making assumptions and people are getting mad. Brian could have come on here today for 5 minutes and just explained his side, but he's on holidays. That's more important. 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes to clear it all up. 5 minutes. He's got time to go on Instagram.
No, we can take 2 minutes and he can have those other 3 with his wife. We just need 2.
Exactly. But the thing is, though, he says he's on holidays, hasn't got time, but he's on Instagram arguing back and forth daily. So
he should have said, he should have said it. He should have said 0. He should have said nothing, and they should have put out an official statement. That's what they should have done. You know, but this is.
But now I want to welcome you both to the Lee Priest Suspension Club after coming on today. You're now suspended from the IFBB.
Yes, finally.
No, I don't believe for a second that Jim Mannion endorses this. I'm sure Jim Mannion is very upset with the fact that they removed Figure, because I know that the Mannions really support Figure. So this is not coming from them, that's for sure.
No, it's definitely not.
People love Figure, wherever it be. Like I said, you got the family, friends, you got the people that love physique and Figure. Maybe as you get down a bit in the classes, you know, bikini, they still have a big following because a lot of girls like bikini. So you can't say it's not because depth is stupid and the people love watching it. So you can't say any excuse they come up with. The only one they could have said was financial, but I still don't believe the Arnold has a financial problem. When you see people are wanting to go, like I said, because it's been off for so long due to COVID, if they said here's the Arnold, every division's going to be in the Arnold, the Expo's back.
That's
people
true.
are going to flock. People are going to flock to the show. It's not going to be like
even at the Ronnie Coleman Classic, the audience was more filled than the competitors.
I'm shocked that you guys didn't have as many people at that Ronnie Coleman class. That place is usually packed with competitors.
It is. It usually
Maybe it's
is.
an off time of year. Maybe it's a little off time of year. Don't they usually hold that show in April?
Yeah, they do.
Maybe that's what messed it up.
To Houston too, so that might have been a problem. Him moving it from Dallas to Houston.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. That shows. I guest posed there back in early 2000. That show was a mob scene, you know, usually.
Yeah, and I did it in 2016 as a bikini competitor, and I was I was in second callouts, and there was like 40 girls in my one class.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Brian still has time. Brian still has time to turn this around till the Arnold Classic comes up.
Yeah.
Yep. There's plenty of time.
Well, that's why we're doing this show, because we're putting it out there that, like, look, if we talk about it and we show that the competitors are upset about it, things can be changed. It's still only August, so I mean, hopefully, maybe the Arnold will sit down with his crew there and say, you know what, maybe this wasn't a good decision. And maybe we can modify it and, you know, bring these girls back, because they do work hard. It's one of the most popular divisions, I think, in all of our sport. The physiques are insane. I mean, I love watching it. You know, I don't like watching 100 girls, but if they pick the top 12 girls, I love that. It's like almost entertaining, you know, because I can see you guys take your physiques to the next level every single year with just the proportions and the waist and how tiny it is. It's amazing. Chris Aceto and I sit there and we're like, I can't believe these physiques have gotten better, because it just seems like it's almost impossible to have a better physique, and then every year we see better and better. You know. Well,
come December, they're not dropping it from the Olympia lineup, are they? So it's like, so now the girls who do the figure at the Olympia, their next outing probably would have been the Arnold Classic, and now they got nowhere to go after that. So it's like.
And they can't, if they do put it back, they can't hold anything against me and Nicole for talking.
Well,
you're doomed.
You guys could have a conversation with Lee Priest privately after. Yeah. You know what? As much as Lee opened his mouth during his career, I don't think they ever penalized you when you competed, Lee. You always got fair placings. You know, you have to admit that.
Like I said, that one time I did that article, and 2002, Wayne DeMille and we had the biggest yelling match before the athletes meeting, and I said, I'm fucked tomorrow, and I won this show. And he even said, he goes, no, Lee, I don't hold it against you. He goes, I like that you speak out, but he goes, you might not do as I say, but the other 100 guys will. So he goes, if I suspend you, they get scared and shut up. So.
But the thing about Lee is that he's the same across the board. So
Yeah.
if you're black, blue, purple, orange, and he thinks you're an imbecile, you're an imbecile, and he'll say it. That's why we respect it, because you're the same across the board with everybody.
What, you're black? I heard Lee Priest was racist. What? What am I doing talking to you people?
You know what? There's a very fine line. We're in a society now where you can't even make a joke anymore because people think like, you know, they're ready to cancel you. Everyone wants to cancel everyone, you know, for just, if you look the wrong way, you look the wrong way, cancel him. And it's a shame.
We're not allowing it, Arnold. You're not canceling figures.
No canceling figure. That's exactly my response.
I mean, I look at it like this, and I think that's why I'm really happy that we've gotten the feedback and response that we've gotten with a lot of other pro athletes from figure and amateurs as well, because we finally have said something, and it's just kind of just been this old taboo thing. Well, we talk about it behind closed doors, but we don't actually say anything because, oh my God, if I say anything, I'm going to get blackballed. There's nothing wrong with putting out your opinions on something as long as it's respectful. Just don't be an asshole about it.
Look, you're not, you know.
That part's hard, though. The not being an asshole part is kind of hard.
Well, you know what it is? You guys put all your blood,
lead.
sweat, and tears into this, and then you feel
follow
disrespected. That's the problem. You know?
Exactly.
Right.
Just remember when you go to say something, just have like, you know, what would Jesus do? What would Lee Priest do?
No, don't listen to what Lee Priest would do.
Roll with the punches.
Do the opposite of what Lee Priest would do. All right, well,
No, but it's true though. It's like that's where the athletes used to be scared in my day, because I would hate it. I'd be backstage and all the athletes would always complain. I say, go say something. Oh no, we get in trouble. We get in trouble. I said, not if we all say something. I said, without us, there is no contest. Without the athletes, they have no show. And it's like you said, you don't need to be rude or disrespectful, but it's like we respect you as a promoter and putting the show on, but also respect us as an athlete. It's give and take. You know, you got to be fair here. So, and if the athletes can just all band together and say, listen, this is what we'd like and this and that, they have to listen, because, again, without the athletes, there is no NPC, there is no IFBB.
Exactly.
They're just a bunch of letters without the athletes. The athletes are the ones that make these organizations.
Exactly. It goes past me and Nicole now, way past us. It's about us speaking up for our figure competitors, our figure sisters, and showing the world that our category is a beautiful category. We're well balanced, and we're the whole package, the whole deal, and we can keep up with anybody in the bodybuilding community. And we're not going to let anybody cancel us or make us less than ever again.
Yep.
The sad thing is, though, there's some figure girls sitting there going, oh, that's good, Nicole's talking, they're talking. I'm moving up 2 places now.
Well, they can wind this, and I'll tell them, like I said.
Well, you gotta
I'm not shaming my shit.
before that.
Well, this is, you know, we're not sitting here complaining about judging. So this has nothing to do with the organization. If anything, I would assume the organization probably supports what we're saying here, because they want to see as many shows as possible, because that's good for the health of the division. When you remove it from the Arnold, when you remove it from the Arnold, though, Lee, in such a big venue, that basically sends a message to the other girls competing at the lower levels that figure's not that important, and that do a different division. And that's where the real insult comes. You know.
Well, the way it was, the way it was released and the way it came out was pretty much on social media. To me, it would be like, okay, he's the guy that's promoting the Arnold. So wouldn't he have to talk to Jim Mannion and that, who's the president, who then would have to talk to Bob Ciccarello, the overall athletes rep? And wouldn't it be up to Bob Ciccarello then to come out and send an email to all the athletes and say, this is what's happening, we're removing these divisions, not just it being thrown out there.
Well, first of all, Lee, Bob is not the athletes rep anymore. So
don't start that again.
Yeah, he's not the athletes rep. Secondly, any promoter can look. The promoter can hold whatever they want. They don't have to. They can hold one division. If they want to just have men's bodybuilding, they can do that. But that's up to them, and it's just a shame they decided to get rid of figure. But don't make excuses that are basically disrespectful to the girls who compete. Like, oh, you girls are not that good, so we don't want to have your division here. That's BS. You know,
it's just the way it was done. Can you imagine the head of the NFL just suddenly going, oh, you know what? I've decided we're just not going to have the Super Bowl this year. Screw you all.
Yeah, because you guys suck. Because you guys suck this year. The two top teams really are not
Right.
that good. Just
And
not
then
that
we might come back in 2024 to see if you're good enough to put you back in. And what do you think this is? A dirty, like, no.
Oh my god.
You can't just pick me up and use me when you want and put me back. I'm not your girlfriend or anything. I'm a figure competitor that needs a paycheck. So put me in there.
Yeah.
How do you know I treated my girlfriends like that?
Oh, Lee, stop. All right. Larhanna, you're going to be doing the San Antonio Pro in 4 weeks, qualifying for the Olympia. Good luck there. Nicole, Graham, Olympia bound. You guys, I'm assuming you probably started your diet by now and getting ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm gonna be watching that show in 4 weeks.
now Lee and I are emotionally invested in your careers. Yeah, we have to follow you now.
And after that, I'm gonna come and train with Lee
There you
and
go.
make him put him in the hospital.
Well, I'll be in Vegas.
That's right. Lee will be in Vegas for the Olympia. That's true.
Oh, awesome! We'll do it there.
Larhanna, good luck on the show in 4 weeks. Come back and you win.
When you go to your show in 4 weeks' time, just wear a T-shirt that says Lee Priest supports me. It'll do wonders for your placings.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Just put it on the bikini.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
LPA, Lee Priest approved. Yeah. There you go.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Lee, thanks for joining us as always. And Larhanna and Nicole, best of luck in your competition later this season.
Oh, and Dave, don't forget the beautiful shirt.
If you want to get your own Iron Rage, like I said, shirt,
I want that.
you got to go to our Teespring store below this video, and you could purchase one, and you could be just like Lee and I.
I'll even show you the one.
We even have a women's version.
I'm wearing.
Love it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys all again next week when we have something new to rage about. Bring back women's figure.
Yeah. Don't do that. I got to go to the gym. You're psyching me out. What are you doing?
Thank you, guys.